Baby Keem doesn't even really have a glimpse of what we heard from Kendrick on Section 80. Go subscribe, yeah, subscribe.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Brews and Reviews. It's Knowledge, and today I'm reviewing Baby Keem's The Melodic Blue, and I am sipping on a Thirsty Miner chocolate stout. This is very stout, coming in at 5.5% from Rhinelander Brewing Company in Wisconsin. Definitely a lot of flavor and a lot going on with this, just like there's a lot going on with this album. Let's get into it. Baby Keem, I just reviewed the Single Family Ties with Kendrick, and I thought, even though this has been anticipated for quite a while, talked about for quite a while, I thought between the drop of Family Ties and this, we might have a little longer wait, but here we are. The Melodic Blue is finally here, and we get the first taste of what Kendrick has to do with pglang, as this is the first drop from that label, and what better way to start a rap career than getting co-signed by one of the greatest artists of all time, and that is a great affiliation to have, and it's an affiliation from birth because of course they are cousins. Baby Keem was lucky enough to be in K.Dot's family, and now he gets this debut out there for everybody to hear, and with that opportunity handed to him on a silver platter, he better take full advantage. Let's see how he did and get into the album. The first track is Trademark USA, and first of all, I do like this artwork on the album of him sitting on the dock, and the way the dock looks is a little bit reminiscent of the abstract artwork that was on some of his singles that dropped before this, among them Orange Soda and Hooligan and No Sense, and that is abstract artwork, but the dock is very real and kind of looks the same. Could be symbolic of Baby Keem finally getting his dreams to become a reality. Keem definitely displays a unique voice right from the jump, and it is very distinct from his cousin's style. You don't hear a lot of Kendrick as you might expect to, despite from a little bit of similarity in the voice, but not enough to even really be noticeable. Although he does slip into a J. Cole type cadence on the second verse of part 2. The beat is fire, especially on that second part, although there's not a lot to be wowed by lyrically in general, although some hard bars come across, like when he says, "You not ready to deal with the sacrifices, and instead you're passing the torch. And check the surveillance camera at the cemetery, see me dancing on all of y'all corpse." Pink Panties, the chorus hits right off the bat, and the chorus is apparently a sample from an artist named Shay, a crew. He sounds like a foreign Nate Dogg, actually makes this work. Keem puts the effects on his vocals, going with a very modern style, and definitely distinguishes himself from his cousin on this one. And really, although this style is what he'll end up doing a lot on the project, having it right here at track 2 really messes up the flow coming right after that intro that has a completely different style from him. Scapegoat. Now this is a cool sample and creates a really chill atmosphere. This beat was produced by Keem himself, actually handles the production in part on most of this. This time he's joined by DJ Dahi. Great beat and sample they're doing here, going drumless on the verse, and I really like his verse here too, but again, you've got yet another style. So 3 tracks in, 3 different styles, and the sequencing of this is really messing up the flow of the album. Range Brothers, the first of 3 K.Dot collaborations, and this hits with some hard bass and some backwards sounds, which are very fitting for the man who last did a backwards album and had many samples played in reverse on that project that was damn. Hasn't done a whole lot since, but here he is returning with some vocals. The beat's so nice, I don't mind the auto-tuned intro from Keem. It actually fits very well, and this really kicks in on Kendrick's verse, and not necessarily only because of him, but it's the trading of bars between him and his cousin, just like they did on Family Ties. The style works so well, and you can tell that they're very comfortable with this type of collaboration. And they're at their best on verse 2. They say, every contract gotta put my kid's family in school. Health and wealth gone deep for it. Do right for my next life, and he got some too. I remember Roach's mama lost focus. I was at home, no lights, no food. Heard that the joke is Hykeem broken. Head to the ground when I walk to school. Verse 3 fizzles out a bit and gets a little weird. It feels like they're trying to do too much with this, although this is Kendrick. Maybe there's some hidden meaning that I'm just not picking up on yet. Issues is definitely his most deep lyrically so far. He's already hinted at his mom being an addict, and he goes deep on the issue. On this particular track, he says, how could I resent you? Demons, they test you. Grandma and I missed you. You don't know what we've been through. Don't let the wolves come and get you. Love the lyrics, and I like this as a standalone track, but again, this is yet another style. It's almost like he's trying to find himself throughout this album, and as a cohesive project, it's just not coming together yet. Gorgeous, and at least now this song sonically vibes with what came before it. There's a flow between these two tracks, and this is more like the modern hip-hop style and all these young rappers that grew up on 808s and Heartbreak, and it's so interesting to me how much that album has influenced this generation of rappers, because when this came out, I never would have anticipated that it would have the kind of influence that it has today. It was Kanye. He was already a huge artist at the time, but Jay-Z had just come out with the death of autotune, and you really felt like the autotune style was going away, and Kanye went all in on that with this album. And I dug the album when it dropped, but since then I respect it even more because of what's happened since. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a college dropout and late registration guy, but this one I understand why the modern rappers were influenced so much by it. South Africa, very catchy beat and hook here. Not a lot going on this song lyrically, but I do like on verse 2 how he mentions Prince, and then he proceeds to go into some high-pitched moaning rhymes, which are kind of reminiscent of Prince's style. Lost Souls, the beat had promise, but I'm really not a fan of what he's doing with it here. However, the album is starting to come together with so much of this middle part having this auto-tune sound. Family Ties, you can check the full review of this on my channel, and I gotta say, Family Ties is actually still the best song on the album. Scars, speaking of 808s and Heartbreak, I think this is an actual sample of Love Lockdown, the first single off of 808s and Heartbreak. However, Keem makes it his own with the piano over those drums. The beat goes off for real, and some of his best lyrical depths actually comes on the choruses of this album, just like on this track where he says, I ask God why this life you gave so hard, why all the choices that I make leave me with scars. I feel like everyone I meet confuse my heart. Durag Activity featuring Travis Scott. This was another single, and Travis's verse is actually pretty good here. Again, not a lot going on lyrically, but a very nice vibe and sound of the song. You can get into the rhythms of it, but I do gotta say at this point in the album that I feel a little bit let down. Baby Keem with the cosign and all, with being the first artist on Kendrick Lamar's imprint, I had hoped to hear a little bit more, especially after Family Ties dropped. A little bit more lyrically would have been nice. We're not getting much from the dude on this project. And I understand he's young. He hasn't had a lot of life experience yet, maybe not a lot to talk about. He hasn't had a lot of wisdom to gain that he can share on wax. He's 20 years old. However, Kendrick was 24 when he dropped Section 80, and we got tracks like Po Man's Dreams, Kush and Corinthians, and ADHD, and Keisha's song lyrically mastered the process at 24. Baby Keem doesn't even really have a glimpse of what we heard from Kendrick on Section 80. Vent is another K.Dot feature, although he's used very sparingly on this track. Keem's flow is on point here, and he's switching it up throughout the song to make it very interesting. 16, a really nice beat and some real heartfelt lyrics. Keem has a good voice that he displays here without the effects. Kind of makes me wish that he did it a little more often, although I'd definitely like to hear more traditional raps from him at the same time. I gotta say, this album misses for me. I felt like he had a lot of potential ever since 2019, and especially as we led up to the drop of this project. I thought that K.Dot would have a little more influence, and maybe he could have honed him a little bit and not made him like him. That's not what we want to hear. We don't want to hear a Kendrick clone, but he could have really helped him find the lyrics that are probably inside him and help him do what he does best, like we heard on his flow on Family Ties and the first track on this. It's definitely underutilized. These glimpses of lyricism and flow are just not enough to make this an engaging project, or for me to even say that Baby Keem is the future. Now, he can change that, because I still think he has the potential. He can capitalize on the lyricism that we hear in spots, and he can definitely capitalize on the cold flow that he has if he chooses to do it. But instead, on this one, it seems that he's opted for a more trendy sound, even though he says that he doesn't feed into the trends. Just need a little more focus on the next go round. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of a 12 pack. Thank you for watching my review of Baby Keem's The Melodic Blue. If you like this, go ahead and hit like now and hit me up in the comments. If you didn't like it, also let me know why in the comments. I drop hip-hop and hop-related content consistently, so subscribe to my channel now. And until I see you next time, keep buzzing.
The man says subscribe.
But if he's on his channel saying that somebody's album is better than mine, unsubscribe to that motherfucker.
No, your album's the best, man.
There you go. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe.